Hello, I am so excited this morning because today I'm going to be welcoming on Sophie Garner, who is an amazing singer, actress, musician, teacher, speaker, author, all these kind of amazing things, all and so passionate about music. So welcome, Sophie. How are you?
Morning. I'm really well, thank you.
I
Yeah.
love that you were singing already. Just started and you're already straight in there.
It kind of dominates every day, and I do it without even thinking, with just no regard to what's going on around me, even in shops.
Well, to be fair, they often play music, so you're just
I
singing
can't
along.
help it. Yeah. But it cheers people up, in the middle of
Yeah.
Tesco's. Why not?
Absolutely. So it's so great to virtually meet you because we've been chatting on Twitter, obviously, and you were so kind to send me your books as well. Thank you so much. I've loved
Thank
reading through
you.
those, and
Good,
we'll come
good.
back to those in a minute. But for anyone that doesn't know you, could you just tell our readers a little bit more about you?
So I've been a professional singer for, well, actually, this year is my 30th year in the
Wow.
music business.
How can that be true? You look far too young to
I'm
admit
I'm
that.
50 next year,
I love it.
but I don't feel it.
No,
I
that's the way
feel
to do it. Be
it
your
is. I
at
feel
your own age.
15, but
Yeah.
I think music. On a serious note, music's
Mm.
played a really big part. I think in
Yeah.
that, because everything I do is about creative self-expression,
Mm.
whether that's on stage or working with children. Um, and I came into teaching singing and music about 17 years ago, and it's
Mm.
kind of one of those things that for some musicians they just fall into it. Not every
Mm.
musician can teach, but sometimes that is a natural progression. So I've taught for the past 17 years, which has taken me into primary, secondary, dementia care units, brain injury. So I work
Mm.
with Headway once a week, and music
Wow.
is incredible as a tool for
Mm.
rehabilitation, helping people to use their speech again, through
Mm.
music. I have toured the world. I was the first singer at the O2 Arena. I beat Bon
Wow.
Jovi by a week on the main stage. Rock and roll. What else? I have a master's degree in my specialist field. So
Mm.
for that, I carried out research into singing and songwriting and created a
Mm.
songwriting program in for primary education, and carried it
Yeah.
also out in an acquired brain injury unit. And then in
Mm.
lockdown, I became a published author, having lost all my work in the first
Oh,
48
goodness, of course.
hours, and
Yeah.
decided then to write the book, which
Mm.
consequently went on to book two,
Yeah.
which is something I've wanted to do for the past sort of 7 years. And I
Mm.
was collating all that material. And then in lockdown, I had the opportunity to sit and go, right, I can finally do it. So
Yeah.
published in December of 2020.
Wow. So one silver lining of lockdown then, you finally had the time to do the books.
It was it was the
Yeah.
only one, and it kept me
Mm.
sane, kept my mental
Yeah, as I
health
say,
good.
it must have been tough, obviously, because all of your work is so people orientated. To then just have that all stopped must have been really hard.
Completely. And I run 4 choirs as well, I forgot to say. So
Mm.
seeing all
Yeah.
those people every week, I mean, I pretty
Mm.
much teach about 200 individual people a week in all of those different
Wow.
guises. So from that to
Mm.
nothing was very socially isolating
Of
on every
course.
level, really. Yeah.
Mm. So obviously you mentioned that you wrote two books now. It's very exciting. You've got your Creative Songwriting Journal and If You Can't Say It, Sing It. Can you give us a bit of an overview about them and what inspired you to want to write them in the first place?
So the first book is really a culmination of everything I've ever done
Mm.
as a vocalist, as a musician, as a songwriter, and as a teacher. So on the face of it, this lovely little A5 book with, I think, 130 pages or 131, I can't remember, is very powerful, because even though on the face of it it looks really simple, I've
Mm.
deliberately made it so everything I've ever done has
Mm.
just been put into that book to make songwriting really easy, whether the
Mm.
book is being used by a pupil or by a parent or
Mm.
by a social worker or a therapist, all of these people are now using the book in that format,
Fantastic.
which
Mm.
is wonderful. And it really grew out of my need to give children a way of expressing themselves and being able to speak their emotions in a safe and creative way without being told off or thinking, I can't do this for fear, you know, I'm not allowed to be angry, or I'm not allowed to be sad. I have to be, you know, how people think I should be at school all the time. And so it's a very powerful tool for building confidence, dealing with anxiety, and self-resilience as well. I'm finding identity, you know, through writing your own lyrics. And it's so powerful to suddenly look at a piece of paper and go, they're my words, and then to put a melody to it. Wow. You know, that's a powerful thing for a child.
It really is. Yeah, it's very powerful. And like you say, that kind of freedom of expression and that chance to be able to express all those emotions in a really healthy way as well is really important.
With permission, you know,
Yes.
it's permission to speak. And that's really what informed the second book. So and you picked up on this actually when you emailed me, because my absolute kind of affirmation, if you like, is the title of the book. If you can't say it, sing it, which literally is, you know, we as adults, when we need to release anger or emotions or whatever, we will go and sit in our car, drive, and put music on really loud.
Love that.
You know, and we're in the moment, and we feel joyful, or we connect with the song, and we find our identity through the playlists that we have, which are very unique to us. And so it really is that if you can't say it, then children, sing it, write it. So that's kind of my affirmation, which really sums up the two books.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they're both brilliant. I've loved kind of having a read through them and stuff. And I really want to actually take the time to like fill them all in properly, because I think it'd be a really good experience.
I'd love you to do that, because
I do want to. It's been great. I was like, oh, I really want to actually do this. So I was like, but I need to create my what is it? Secret songwriting space.
Special songwriting space.
That's it, special. Thank you. Yeah, not secret, just hiding in the wardrobe.
But it can be secret.
No, I love that idea, especially as I like music myself. I used to be in a band. I used to do a lot of dramatic stuff. Yeah, so I miss a lot of that stuff. So
what did you sing? What kind of stuff did you do in the band?
In the band, it was mainly like pop punk stuff. But then I also love doing like musicals and things. So it'd be fun to.
I used to be
excuse to get back into it.
I was a punk back in the 80s. Yeah, I had a Mohican at school.
I should have guessed from the red hair. I love it. Yeah, no, so that would be really good to get back into. Actually, you mentioned as well in the Creative Songwriting Journal that when you left school, you told your teacher you were going to be a singer and actress, and they were really negative about that and kind of said it wasn't a real job. But obviously you went for it and proved them wrong, which is brilliant. But what sparked this passion and drive to become a singer and an actress anyway?
My first role was, you'll love this, my first role was Snow White and the 30 Dwarfs.
Love it. The 30, wow, that's a lot of dwarfs.
And the reason it was 30 was because the teacher didn't want to leave any of the children out. So she literally invented different, you know, sad, happy, dizzy, you name it.
Out.
She literally was scraping the barrel. So I played Snow White, and that was really... that was quite a powerful experience, because I had to sing by the Wishing Well. I can't remember the name of the song, but that was incredible. And then nothing really happened. And then my mum and dad divorced. That was an extremely difficult time. I was 10. I just literally started secondary school, and we moved house. So I had a totally different group of friends.
So much going on all at once, isn't it?
In one go, and it was a totally different area we moved to. When mum and dad split up, I really was struggling with who I was, and I got very angry, and I started to really express myself through music. So I was listening to bands like Susie and the Banshees, X-Ray Specs, Sex Pistols, Crass, the Specials, and the Dead Kennedys, and I got really, really angry. and that was coming out in my dress with, you know, Mohican studded belts, fishnets, Dr. Martens. And I would lose myself in music and writing poetry. And I've still got my poetry book from when I was a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah. And I then was singing, you know, with my Walkman, and I won a competition on the local BBC Suffolk, and I sang California Dreaming by the Mamas and the Papas, and I won an underwater Sony Walkman, which at the time retailed at £80. This is 1983. It's an underwater Walkman. I mean, I never used it. Never used it, Kat, underwater. I mean, where was I going to go age 10?
You'd be a bit
in the bath.
Get to the swimming pool. Like, oh. Everyone looking at you like, oh no, we have a problem here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that really kind of planted the seed. And then I was in various productions and at school where things were just, I was horrific at school. I had the worst attendance in the penultimate year of school. I missed 77 days in one academic year, and I had the worst attendance in school, they told me. And the only thing I was good at was singing and drama, and I got the lead role in a play called Our Day Out, and then I played Nancy and Oliver in an external amateur dramatic society, and I thought, this is it, this is what I'm going to do. And I knew instinctively. So on that day where the careers advisor comes in and very patronizingly sat there as if to say, oh well, you're going to amount to nothing because you've got a Mohican, and look at you, and said, so what are you going to do? And I was really good at cooking and art at the time, and I went, I'm going to be a singer and an actress. And she went, yeah, but what are you going to do for a proper job? I went, I'm going to be a singer. And I got really angry, and I went, I will, and I'll show you. And then
you did.
of course,
which is awesome.
Yeah. So, and then I went back to my school 10 years ago, and my teacher, my head of year, was then head. She's just retired, but I went to the reception and I went, can you tell me if Mrs. Tyers is still here? And the receptionist went, yes, she's head teacher. And my heart was going. And I went, well, I was from class 89. And she went, do you want to see her? I said, yeah. I went, but don't tell her who I am. I said, she put her on speakerphone, bearing in mind this is like 20 years later. And I went, just tell her that a punk is here to see you from the late 80s. And she went, is that Sophie Garner? And it was like, you know, and I'm welling up now, and it was amazing. And she came down and we hugged, and I just said to her, I'm so sorry, you know, for everything that I caused you back then. And oh, sorry.
No, it's emotional. It's
and she said, she said, we all knew you were struggling, and we all knew that you'd end up being a singer. And it was just, and I went and sat in my chair. I went and sat in my chair in my classroom, and it was so cathartic. And I just bawled my eyes out because, you know, I was back there again, and it was incredibly cathartic. Oh dear, sorry.
No, it is emotional. I think anyone would feel that way going back, especially as it was at such a difficult time in your life.
Very, very, yeah.
But being able to go back and to have achieved so much must have, like you say, gave you that closure and that.
It did, and she was so proud of me, and I needed that acknowledgement. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was absolute closure. So yeah, extremely powerful experience. And she's since asked me to go back to do a workshop. So going full circle, so incredibly cathartic.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful, being able to go back there, but in the teacher role. So speaking of kind of music in school, what are your thoughts on music in the curriculum? Do you think there's enough time devoted to it? What is working well, and what are the really key bits that are missing?
So when I was the artist in residence at a primary school where I would teach every single child in the school. I was in 2.5 days a week, and I would literally teach from nursery and reception all the way up to year 6.
Perfect.
And an after school singing club, and an after school songwriting club, and a lunchtime choir. It was incredible. And I would have them for key stage 1 would be between half an hour and an hour, and then key stage 2 was an hour once a week. And I have to say that was incredible, because I had my own room. I had a huge room.
Yeah.
I really had a huge involvement within what the school was in terms of its musical output. But most schools they're lucky if they get half an hour, and it's kind of almost crowbarred in. And I really think that, and I'm only talking about schools that aren't musically minded, but I really think they're missing and not respecting what music can provide in terms of social skills, building children's confidence, actually using music as a way of teaching English and maths with children that have autism, you know, children with special education needs, children that are bored. You know, as teachers, it's not the children's fault if they're not engaged. It's our job to engage them. And music is repetition, and it's rhythm. Maths and music, you know, it's about counting. So using music to sing maths and English it's like a no-brainer, because it will go into the muscle memory. And part of the first sort of 4 to 5 years of a child's life is actually, it's vital that they have play.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
There isn't enough of it. And to use play, i.e. music, which is predominantly what a lot of people see music as, this just, oh, let's have fun, to which it's not, obviously, but to use that and fuse it with the curriculum, it's a no-brainer. So that's really what my goal and my legacy is, basically to get teachers and schools and the government to see that, and I want my books and what I do in every school, and I want to train teachers to deliver what I do that aren't trained musicians, so they can implement that in their classroom with no musical training whatsoever, and it can be done.
Absolutely. I remember so when I was at primary school, I still remember my reception teacher very well, because she was very musically minded, and she always had a guitar, and she was always making up songs and things to help us remember things, and, you know, getting us to express things. And she was always the one in charge of the plays and all that stuff as well. But
brilliant. And you remember
it does
her,
really stick with you. I do remember her. Much. Yeah, absolutely.
And I bet you remembered things as well.
Yes, it definitely helped. Yeah, it does. It really sticks, because, you know, obviously songs get stuck in your head, don't they? Especially if they're catchy. So that's a really good way to kind of, like, I can imagine using that for revision and stuff, getting all that kind of stuff going around.
Yeah,
and I like what you said about the rhythm and counting and stuff. I think that can be overlooked, but it actually is really, really good link to maths. So I liked how in both of your books, actually, you encourage the reader to work through the activities as they go, and actually physically write inside the journal, and, like, make it theirs, make it personal, that sort of thing. Why did you choose that method, and how does it support that songwriting process?
I really wanted children, and you picked up on it, to have ownership over what they do. And it's very important that the process is done with pen and paper. And there's been research into the benefits of writing as opposed to typing. So on a computer, you can erase something and it's gone forever. Whereas when you write, it's in your hand. It exists, and the only way it could disappear is by tearing it up and get rid of it. But it's existed in life, you know, not on a computer. And the other thing is, you then are able to see your process and reflect on what you've done. And it's also about keeping what went wrong. Something I call beautiful bloopers.
I loved that term. That was great.
Which is my term for mistakes, because I think mistakes is an incredibly horrendously loaded negative word. A mistake is seen as wrong, forbidden, you've done something terrible, whereas a blooper is oops, you know. And in songwriting it's never a mistake, because if you look at some of the great songwriters, there's an amazing book that's been done about David Bowie, and it was available in the V&A. I've actually got it up there, actually. Huge book, and it shows David Bowie's lyrics and where he's scribbled them out. And I always
That's
use,
awesome.
I know, and so, but he then can see, oh right, okay, yeah, that didn't work. And you should
the
always,
process is all there.
exactly, and you should always keep something, because you never know when you might want to use it in another song. So it's incredibly powerful to have this book that's yours, that belongs to you. Nobody can take it away. So I really wanted the journal and the activities to be fused together, as opposed to go and buy a book and do it separately.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And it definitely made you feel kind of more engaged and more involved, I think, as well, having all that. And yeah, that ownership is really important. So coming back to your positive affirmation, if you can't say it, sing it. I was just thinking, you mentioned before that actually you do support with things like brain injury and all that kind of stuff. How does it kind of link in with that?
It's interesting, actually, because last week was National Brain Awareness Week. And because I work with Headway once a week, we had the challenge. Every year there's a theme, and this year's theme for Headway was the hidden injury. You know, you can't see it. And we decided to write a song, and this involved like a kind of group version of the book. So I got everybody to come up with sentences on what it means for them to be seen by others, and it was extremely powerful.
I
And
imagine, yeah.
people were saying, you know, you treat me like a baby, you talk to my carer and not me, you don't treat me as normal. And we called it I Am Normal, and we all sang it. So songwriting for someone with a brain injury was incredibly powerful. We recorded it, I put it on Facebook, and it really gave them a voice, and literally a voice, Kat, because some people have got speech difficulties, and they're so impaired that talking means, you know, saliva dribbling. It means only being able to say a few words, taking a long time. So to have this song saying how they feel as an adult, incredibly powerful.
Oh, that's amazing. And you mentioned about like speech difficulties as well. I've heard before that it can be a really useful tool for stammers as well, to sing it rather than try and speak it.
Absolutely. And it's all to do with breathing patterns as well. And of course, breathing, I mean, you know, I could talk about that till the cows come home. The benefits of breathing and singing in lowering your blood pressure, helping your lung capacity. So, you know, for people that have got asthma and COPD issues, it's good for depression, because you're getting oxygen to the brain. It's calming, it's helping with anxiety. There's so many benefits to singing, you know, when combined with songwriting.
Absolutely. So going into that a little bit more then, for the kind of teaching children songwriting aspects, what are your kind of main benefits that you think there are?
So it gets them moving, because we obviously, by nature, when we hear a song, you know, we either nod or we tap our leg. We can't help it. Rhythm is innate in us.
You can feel like when you're driving and your fingers going on the wheel. Yeah.
Or you end up singing and somebody's looking at you like,
the window's open, you forgot it's open.
Absolutely. Driving is the best place to go for it, because you're moving forward. You're never next to someone for long. So, you know, if you do feel stupid, you're gone. You're on the motorway.
In the car and in the shower. Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. In the shower. Great acoustics. So there's the rhythm, there's the movement, there is the social side of it. So in school, I get people to go into groups, so they're having to philosophize on chosen subjects and really think about what lyrics mean, and how you can say something without literally saying it. and how you can tackle your own inner issues, your positives in your life. So really honing in on something that's going really well and writing a song about it. So you've then got something to look back on when you're feeling a bit down or anxious, and that's going really well in my life. And improving their breathing and getting them to use their voice in a really loud way. So for children that are quite shy, it's a great way of getting them out of themselves and building confidence, and literally giving them a voice. And obviously thinking about language and thinking about words and having to look things up, and to also look at things historically, looking at different subject matters, so that they can write about something that is not necessarily within their life. So I often tie things into the curriculum when I go into schools.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I feel like you can kind of probably connect more with a situation from music. It's so emotional, isn't it? So you get that link.
Absolutely.
And I've seen what's been quite interesting as well is there have been some teachers that have been using things like song lyrics for reading comprehension. And that's quite fascinating because, like you said, it's about kind of seeing how you can say things without directly saying them, like the meaning of words, the emotions behind them. So yeah, that really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you've got lots and lots of different fun activities for the songwriting process in your books. What are your personal favourite ones, though?
Oh gosh, it's so hard.
Don't say all of them.
No, I know. Well, one of the things that I love, and it's early on in the book. So there's the breathing exercises. So that there's two things I really love. One, because I love what happens on children's faces. So there's an exercise where I get children to close their eyes, and it's a visualization exercise, but I also do it as a calming exercise. So this is something that teachers...
I think I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say? Go on.
Is it the one with the nose, with the paintbrush? I do it.
So I get children to... Hang on. So let's see.
So I could just imagine them.
So it is... So I'm just going to... Here we go. It's called spiral breath. Basically, I get children to close their eyes, and this is something teachers could actually do at the end of a day, or they could do it when children are quite hyper after coming in from the playground. And I get children to imagine a colour on the end of their nose, and they turn their nose into a paintbrush. And then I get them to slowly draw a spiral from inside to out, and I get them to do it really slowly. And what I love is by the end, especially younger children, they're like this.
I can imagine
it's so funny to see. I love it. And then I get them to come back until they're really small, and then I get them to dot, and they see different colors, and the visualization, and they're calm, and they open their eyes, and they're like this. And it's a form of mindfulness. But the visualization aspect is really important, and I'm a very visual thinker, and I work visually, and for children, they absolutely get it. They get it really quickly. So there's that. I also like the castaway exercise. I'm a massive fan of Radio 4 Desert Island Disc. I love it.
Yeah.
So that kind of influenced that. So I get children to come up with 3 songs that they absolutely love, and why, and their favorite artist. And what that does is it really gives somebody ownership over who they love, and we're very connected, as I said earlier, to our identity through music. At school, kids will make up dance routines, they'll hang out with their friends that like the same band, and it really kind of ties them to themselves through their music. So Castaway, those 2 things are 2 of my favorites.
Yeah, no, they're both really good ones.
You're gonna have to do that.
So. I know. You wait for me to do the nose.
You need to be doing this.
Well, it goes through them all step by step. To send you some photo updates.
Yeah, you do
video update of this. Oh, so good. So obviously we've talked about lots and lots of different things today to do with songwriting and music. What do you really want our readers to take away about music and songwriting today?
that it goes beyond listening to something and enjoying it. It goes on to a much deeper level. So we've talked about all of the benefits, and it really is that it's a very serious tool which has the ability to impact mentally and physically, and from a very early age implementing that is so important for building confidence. And I really want to see schools taking it seriously. And I'm so sad and really scared that it is being removed from the curriculum. Yeah, I'm so angry. I can't tell you. So that's what I'm trying to change, and just getting that message out there however I can. So, you know, you've provided that opportunity today, Kat, through R.I.S E, which is brilliant. So thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And if readers do want to get in touch with you and find out more,
I'd love to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be the best way for them to contact you?
My website, so sophiegarner.com. That's the easiest way.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on
Thank
today,
you
Sophie.
so much, Kat.
It's
I
been an
can't
absolute
wait
pleasure.
to see you fill the book in and tell me how it goes.
Me too. Slightly nervous now, though, that you're that excited about it.
Silly. Thank you.